in that moment, we decided, we never spoke a word until much later, that we were not going to give in to fear. We had no idea why all these things were happening. We had no idea why all of a sudden we were on someone's or something's naughty list, okay? It wasn't until much, much later that I realized that that vision that I shared with you all about us going out into the public and speaking out about things that we had found out a long time ago, things that we had researched, things that had happened to us, truths that were hidden, truths that were not allowed to be spoken. And once we started doing that, I realized that once I had received that vision, the same forces who've been holding humanity hostage are the exact same forces who try to stop us before we even started. That's the strange thing. They tried to stop us before we even started. And once we went through that fearful moment and literally gave up and said, we're not going to gave up that fear, and we're not going to be fearful. We're going to step into our true power. We're going to step into our creativity. Once we did that, these attacks stopped. You know, like almost as instantaneously as they began, they stopped. There were bumps in the road later on. There were difficulties, but they were nothing compared to that. Nothing compared to that. And we realized over the years, you know, we started doing public, speaking engagements 15 years ago, and then more and more and more, and then sort of took a little bit of a break, and then, you know, with Inspired, it really started going into a much a bigger direction, if you will. But all of this was given to me in a vision 17 years ago. The reason why I'm sharing this story with you is that we are in a time where so much is coming to light, and this is, you know, sort of what I was preparing in my show today. And so many things are crazy. There seems to be all kinds of psychological operations, information warfare. All of this is going on, but the basic premise hasn't changed in eons. Do whatever they need to do. They do whatever they need to do to get people in a state of fear, anxiety, powerlessness, worry, doubt, anything that keeps people from being courageous enough to step into their true power. And when you realize that, you can flip a switch. It's not like everything miraculously go away, but when you flip a switch and you decide that fear is not going to be your MO, it's not going to drive your life, it's not going to drive your decisions, it's not going to drive anything, and that you are so much greater and more powerful, and you have access to creativity and access to inspiration and access to divine guidance and intuition and all these things, once you decide on that, and it is a decision that no one can make for you. You know, we had made that decision partially in our lives in other fields, but it wasn't until that day where I was literally sitting there. I was looking at the stuff that they laid out in front of me, these cops. One was literally just hammering at me, you know, admitted and blah and blah. And the other guy was kind of the good cop. But I was in a position, and Christine just as well, you know, just because they accused me, it affected her just as much. It affected our entire family. But everything that I saw in front of me should have put me in jail. I'm not even kidding with you, even though I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't even close to where this had happened at that time, not even close, but it looked like it. And you know, you don't know until you experience how evidence can be put together that makes it look very, very real. And that could have been rock bottom. That could have been the beginning of the end, if you will. But really, it was the beginning of something new. It was the beginning of the kind of natural courage where you don't even need to get the courage to do things. You just naturally follow that. And I believe that just as I had received that vision 17 years ago, the forces are watching stuff like that, and they see, oh, you know, there's a light bulb. We don't like those light bulbs. We're going to go after that light bulb. We're going to make that light bulb so miserable, and we're going to hit at them, and we're going to put so much shit in their way that they're just going to be distracted and just going to be busy surviving. And we decided that was not going to be the course.